An IRS whistleblower says he has evidence that the administration meddled with the criminal investigation into the president's son and his overseas business dealings.
And now that whistleblower is seeking protections so that he or she can share his story with Congress.
Lucas Tomlinson joins us from D.C. with more, and we don't know much about the agent other than they've been on the job at the IRS for about 10 years, but we know a lot more about his attorney.
That's right, Steve. The whistleblower has not been identified. He or she is a career IRS special agent who has been investigating Hunter Biden for 3 years. He claims in a new letter to Congress, federal prosecutors are preventing tax charges from being brought up against the president's son. Here's more from the letter. Quote, detail preferential treatment and politics improperly infecting decisions and protocols that would normally be followed by career law enforcement professionals in similar circumstances if the subject were not politically connected. Now, here's the whistleblower's attorney.
To him, the truth is one truth, and he wants to come forward with it. He's ready to be questioned about what he knows and what he experienced under the proper legal protections.
Well, we know the sex. He's a he. The Republican chairman of the House Oversight Committee spoke to Sean Hannity last night.
This was a family enterprise. What were they doing? Why were they getting this much money? It all points back to Joe Biden, and we're going to continue until we get the truth to the American people. But I can say this, Sean, the walls are closing in on the Biden family.
Hunter Biden, last seen traveling with the president to Ireland, wasn't named in the letter, but officials say the complaint is about him. Hunter has been under federal investigation since 2018. Our colleagues at Fox Digital first reported a current Biden political appointee and crisis communications expert with close ties to Hunter Biden visited the White House more than 30 times when Biden was vice president, including 2 visits with Biden aides a month after Hunter hired him to help rebrand his Chinese investment firm, guys.
All right, Lucas, thank you very much. So this guy's got a blockbuster story to tell, but because he currently works at the IRS has strict rules where you cannot divulge information in a public setting about any one particular taxpayer. And so what he's asking for is protection so that he is not retaliated against by somebody in the government.
Yeah, this letter, his attorney sent the letter to 9 recipients in the 9 lawmakers. And it's bipartisan, exactly, Democrats and Republicans. And he wants that protection. My client will talk if you protect him. He said, my client's prepared to provide information that would contradict sworn testimony to Congress by a senior political appointee. According to the New York Post, they say congressional sources are claiming that that is the AG, Merrick Garland. The whistleblower is prepared to reveal failures to handle clear conflicts of interest in the case and detail preferential treatment and politics improperly infecting decisions and protocols.
So he also believes his senior appointee lied in front of Congress, gave false testimony to Congress about this case. The Wall Street Journal expands on that, and they have said in the past, the Wall Street Journal, that investigators believe they have more than enough evidence to indict President Biden's son, but the case has not moved forward. John Solomon, breaking this story, picked up by the Wall Street Journal and us, said this last night.
The interesting about this whistleblower is he doesn't want to just hang out with Republicans. He wants to face the music. He wants to look Democrats and Republicans and independents in the eye. So he sent this letter to the Democratic side. He sent it to the Republican side. He's not afraid to confront the Adam Schiffs and the Eric Swalwells and all the jokesters who gave us all the bogus stories of the last 4 years. The reason he's so confident, he has the receipts. He has contemporaneous documents. It's not going to be in doubt what he provides to Congress.
And so he's bringing evidence. Now, keep in mind, it was back in October, the Washington Post had that blockbuster story about how they were learning from FBI agents and investigators that they had accrued enough information to indict Hunter Biden on tax charges. So what they did is they presented the information with the prosecutors. And the prosecutors, as we have famously told you a million times, are at the U.S. Attorney's Office in Delaware. That's a man by the name of David Weiss. So if you connect the dots of what we have learned yesterday from the whistleblower's attorney and what we learned back then, you have to figure somebody has given Mr. Weiss, a U.S. attorney in Delaware, some information that is not accurate about the situation of Mr. Biden.
There's also speculation that the Attorney General Merrick Garland, who vouched for the independence of David Weiss, who's a Trump holdover, that he might, he said he's been advised that he has not been denied anything that he needs, but the fact that Merrick Garland vouched for his independence could be called into question. Is David Weiss's hands tied, or was he able to keep his job if he possibly guaranteed they wouldn't move forward on the gun charge or the IRS charge? And there's still that mystery of why someone would write a $2 million check for somebody else because they had an IRS they have an IRS debt. That's pretty good. That sugar daddy that he has out on the West Coast who also lets him live with him.
Well, James Comer on Oversight, he said that letter is very concerning. And he said, we've been wondering where the heck the DOJ is on this. Where the heck is the IRS on this? And he says, now it appears the Biden administration might have been working overtime to prevent the Bidens from facing any consequences.
Because what this whistleblower, just to make it simple for you, the whistleblower essentially is saying that he has information that will contradict sworn testimony to Congress by a senior political appointee. So the question is, who is that appointee that told Congress something that apparently, according to this IRS agent with the receipts, is not true?
New York Post says it's Merrick Garland. We'll see.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.